Over the past few days, we've been talking about the sales numbers in regards to Bud Light, and it's all great, but we need to do a multivariate analysis. The numbers, obviously, they're all trash. Volume is down, sales overall and dollar amounts totally through the floor. But what about the real life impact, or people actually in despite, okay? Because there are some sales still going on, not nearly at the levels they were, hell, even earlier this year, but people are still drinking it, right? And you would think that, okay, now one of the biggest, most legendarily debaucherous events, Sturgis Bike Week, known for its rowdy behavior, beer swilling antics. Okay, you'd think that at least there would be, a little bit of good faith towards Bud Light, but then, of course, you'd be, well, totally mistaken. There's one guy that works there, and that's there, and oh yeah, of course, they're doing the appropriate, definitely doing the appropriate branding by having all of the folds of honor. That was the sponsorship that they were running. Yes, proud supporter of military veterans. Of course you'd run that at the biker rally, because it's just a bunch of old white guys that just come through, riding their Harley Davidsons, showing out for the weekend, and well, yeah, you'd want to put your best foot forward. We're a proud patriotic beer brand, and if you guys at least wanted to go ahead and sneak it under the wire, you would just end up running with Budweiser instead of, well, having the Bud Light gimmick in the background as well. But yeah, as you can see, it's just people taking a look at the, well, absolute lack of attendance right now, but you can get all of your merchandise right there, and everybody knows that it's just, well, it ain't happening anymore. So, it really does look like the sales numbers match up with the reality numbers, and things aren't good. Several CEOs, marketing departments, and businesses in general have peered into the eye of the abyss that is Bud Light right now and realized that there is nothing to gain from engaging in the same tactics as Bud Light did by besmirching, deriding, and betraying your consumer base. So they're all starting to correct course, except for one company. And apparently they wanted all the smoke. No, this is Best Buy. Now, this is an older story from a while back. And the fact that Best Buy wants 1 in 3 new corporate hires to be people of color. Corporate hires. They don't really care about the people that are, just sticking around on the front lines. But hey, if you want to go ahead and, maybe achieve the American dream by working hard, climbing up through the ranks. Yeah, if you're white, you're just going to find that there's going to be a glass ceiling artificially put on top of you because, some people's ancestors or some shit like that suffered, because that's the only thing that they can use for justification. Bad things happen to people that they don't even know, so therefore that's enough justification to be outright racist to hardworking individuals. Best Buy plans to fill a third of corporate jobs for people of color over the next 5 years, joining a growing list of companies that also have diversity hiring goals pegged for 2025. Yeah, there's an awful lot of pegging going on in these diversity and inclusion offices. Best Buy also wants to hire women. Oh, okay, cool. So you want people of color and you want women, the dominant sex on the planet. Yeah, so we need to target marginalized groups. Interesting. And this is for Best Buy. Okay, but it's only for the managerial roles, because they don't actually give a fuck about equity when it comes to the frontline shit. Like, I can tell you, and I've told a fair few tales about this, but I used to work at Best Buy, okay? I was a section manager, and hell, it was a hell of a lot of fun, but that was back in 2008. And the section that I was in charge in, I don't even think exists. And to be completely fair, I haven't been inside of a Best Buy in 2 or 3 years. Like, it's been a hot second since I've even stepped foot in one of these spots. They need all the help they can get. Like, they've been teetering, just like every other big box store that can be wiped out by online shopping. They've been teetering on irrelevance for a very, very, very long time because their in-store traffic has just completely died off. Speaking specifically as a Canadian when it comes to this, Best Buy came in, especially in my neck of the woods, like the store that's here set up in 2008. Yeah, 2008, because I'm just trying to time it out in my head and all that stuff. It's like, that makes sense. So summer, they were coming through doing all their recruiting, and I got hired and all that stuff. Came in, set up the store and all that shit, and I was there for a little over a year, and everything was great. It was wonderful, fantastic. I was definitely moving through, but then you started to realize that, there's some people that are in charge of some stuff that are just there to cause drama, and I don't know if I necessarily need to tell you specifically who was the one who were the groups that were creating the most drama, but I think you probably know. But it's good that they have new hiring incentives, because nothing bad could happen by reinforcing all that bad behavior. Black Lives Matter protests earlier this year. Wait, what? Where are we going? Oh, so Best Buy hopped on the bandwagon back in 2020, because that's where this article and this pledge comes from. Hiring, yes, a larger $44 million diversity push that the electronics chain shared Wednesday. Yes, Adidas, Facebook, Google, Starbucks, Microsoft, and Wells Fargo have all unveiled similar diversity targets. Interesting. So yeah, back to this. Black Lives Matter protests earlier this year have pushed companies such as Nike and Twitter. Well, Twitter at the time, it was, just a matter of typing up the supportive tweet, and you knew that they were going to get behind that. Nike, well, of course, they would have been leading the charge, so you wouldn't have had to push them very hard. Outside of, there was a black guy who overdosed in the street. Must be systemic racism. Major companies have also vowed to hire more people of color and become more inclusive workplaces. Yes, because we might as well just throw meritocracy to the wind. Fuck them. We can just go ahead and handpick our subordinates, and what could possibly go wrong? Okay, and it always starts under the auspices of being kind, caring, and inclusive. They're just trying to open up more doors for more disenfranchised people that you wouldn't hire for frontline jobs, but you automatically think that they'd make for good managers. Weird fucking take, but you do whatever you want. It's ultimately your business at the end of the day, and it's your party, and if you want to set the drapes on fire, fucking go for it. No, man, what started off is what you could at least perceive, even though we all know in practice these are never, in fact, good practices, could be perceived as something good and fine, okay? Just simply creating new job opportunities. It's not like they would actively go forward and start discriminating against anybody. Oh, wait. Yeah, time to Bud Light a Best Buy. And Best Buy faces blowback for leadership training program that excludes white applicants. Yeah, that's 1000% true. That's exactly what that is. And is anybody surprised? But there's been a multitude of different stores, companies, businesses, anything that you want to do, okay, that just actively shits on white people. This is Best Buy after all. This is cutting edge electronics. Now we understand that some of the diversity likes to go in and partake in the electronics that are there, but when you're talking about your paying customer base, if you want to go ahead and piss them off, I don't really know about that. That seems a little bit sus, especially at the time where you guys are just clinging onto as many stores as possible, because take a look at your contemporaries that are out there. Bed Bath & Beyond completely shutting down. All the boutique camping stores like Cabela's, Bass Pro Shop, they've rolled back spots. And in specific blue cities, well, of course, you have Walmart leaving Chicago. Targets, if they aren't being burnt down, they're closing down. And you think by just being racist like this, by not treating people fairly, I think that's going to keep you alive longer? Like, it doesn't really compute, now does it? So Bud Light, whoopsie daisy, you could just do the exact same thing, because this is a little bit more analogous than some of the other examples that have been put forth in the conversation lately, because, yeah, if you've ever been inside of a Best Buy, it's nothing but tech enthusiasts, and outside of your odd Indian guy offering tech support, it's mostly a bunch of white guys that just want to go, and hell, I was a part of that. That's why I wanted to go work at Best Buy. I was enthusiastic about technology. Still am. I'm just not very enthusiastic about their corporate culture. Wonder why I work for myself now. So yeah, if you're telling me, if I ended up running, if I was like a decade and a half younger, if I went to go apply, set up a brand new store, just apply my skills, my hard work ethic at setting up the store, and never would have achieved the level that I got to when I was working there just because of the color of my skin, not the content of my character. Sounds fantastic. But yes, a memo from retail giant Best Buy was revealed on Tuesday highlighting the company's professional development program for employees who identify as Black, Latino, Hispanic. Wait, isn't that kind of redundant? Like, I'm not trying to make a joke or anything like that, but isn't Latino and Hispanic, ain't that the same shit? Fuckers are weird. Asian or Pacific Islander. The program is not to white applicants. Investigative journalist James O'Keefe, yes, and his O'Keefe Media Group has actually done a further expose, and things, well, of course they get worse, because yeah, it's not bad enough that Best Buy was being racist. Well, of course, now they gotta go ahead and discriminate based on religious grounds? What the fuck is going on here? But shout out to the big man, James O'Keefe, right there. Hey, doing better work than what his previous spot in Project Veritas has done in the past, 6 months since he's left. So yeah, let's see what he has to say about this. I got it cranked up at a little quicker pace, but there's a lot of good stuff in here, so let's check this out.
I'm James O'Keefe with OMG, standing outside Best Buy this week on August 8th. O'Keefe Media Group OMG released...
I'll be completely honest, the creepy stash isn't really working for me, but he doesn't look terribly dissimilar from any of the district managers that would come through Best Buy, just saying.
Released a story featuring a whistleblower from inside Best Buy that released screenshots of a training program, a management training program with McKinsey and Company, where it explicitly excludes white.
Yeah, see, there it is. Okay, candidates for these programs must meet the requirements below, currently working in an exempt role. So yeah, being a manager, you get paid a salary, you know, of course. Having worked more than 1 year in the current role at Best Buy. Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, you've proven yourself in a managerial role, okay, and you want to move up in the leadership or in the leadership training in order to, I don't know, maybe move into being a store manager, district manager. You know, it's just setting people up. It's kind of grooming them in the positive way, in the positive sense, for bigger and better things within the company, which is ultimately, I thought, what everybody wanted when they started working at a place, but that's all just been disincentivized, mostly because the people that work hard, they end up hitting their head against those glass ceilings because, let's just say, the corporate structure hasn't had enough seasoning applied. But yes, and there's the line that we talked about before: identify as Black, Latino, Hispanic, Asian, or Pacific Islander, able to commit to the following to participate in learning sessions and small group discussions, blah, 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 all that stuff. Yeah, and then the key dates of the different locations that you can sign up for, or at least be put forward to. Probably by your store manager or something like that. Like, that would totally make sense, because that's the way, I've worked in, you know, a few different places where they had similar things such as this, and that was actually the last time that I was down in the United States, I think in 2018. I can't quite fucking remember for all that shit, but had to go down for training at the corporate offices down in lovely Minnesota in October. Don't recommend. It's kind of nice, but, you know, at the same time, it was kind of fucking goofy. And long story short, I won't bore you guys. We'll probably talk about this in some later date, but ended up acing the training, becoming the first person to ever get 100% on the final exam. I know, spoilers, right? I gotta go ahead and toot my own horn, but what did that end up doing? Getting a bullseye put right on my forehead so that I'd be the first person taken out, because heaven forbid we'd have somebody who was, I don't know, maybe very competent at their job and was a threat to some of the old guard that was up top, that was just gatekeeping you from taking over less successful stores in the vicinity. Who could have possibly seen that one coming? That's not the reason I left that job. That job was in fucking dog shit for a multitude of reasons. But racism definitely wasn't one of the things behind it. They definitely had prejudice that was against conservatives. But another story for another time. Back to James.
Applicants. The program's racial requirements have led to accusations of racial discrimination.
Okay, identify. Yeah, so please select all of the following requirements that you meet. Best Buy employee exempt status, 1 year tenure, identify as, yes, of course, being racist. Great.
Online, the CEO of Best Buy, Corie Berry, has now made her Twitter account.
Oh my God, the CEO of Best Buy is a woman? Color me and a liberal white woman? Wow, I'm very shocked by that.
Private. Now, a second whistleblower has come forward exclusively to OMG with audio recordings of his manager, Mike Hirsch, at a Best Buy in Jacksonville, Florida, stating that LGBTQ flags were appropriate in the Geek Squad office, but Christian crosses were not.
Wow, big shock on that one. Heaven forbid we have a religious item. Oh, I'm sorry. Your religious items on display.
This has led to further allegations of religious discrimination.
If we're doing all that gay pride flags and all that transgender stuff, like, why don't we have Christian stuff all over? They're not.
Fair enough. They're not the same. Oh no, they're very much the same. They're fat guy. And that guy right there, he looks exactly what you would expect for a Best Buy manager, okay? And especially the Geek Squad. Shout out to them. They kind of know their stuff. At least they did back in the cut, but they're kind of slow motherfuckers, but they do decent work. Or at least, like I said, like they did. I haven't used them in a long time, but oh man, he's the large product fulfillment. Oh yeah, he's definitely the large assistant manager. That's for true.
Not the same.
How is that not the same?
You can 1,000% choose religion.
So,
It's not a belief.
listen,
That's a
You can 1,000% because, okay, a pride flag is different than a cross. You can 1,000% choose your religion. Okay, cool. Then also just fill me in on the fact that people can go ahead and choose to get surgeries and start taking hormone. It's just weird, right? And then you can come back, or even if you're just on the non-binary spectrum, if you don't want to actually commit to a decision, then you can just feel like however you want on a certain day, or you could take the advice of stupid Neil deGrasse Tyson by saying, some days you can feel 80% male and 20% female, then it can just all change. Gender's on a spectrum, you fake fucking science hack.
That's a cultural.
Yeah, but me as a cultural entity having beliefs that I have, so why can't I put my stuff all over the wall?
You are
Fair enough.
choosing to believe in Christianity or Muslim or whatever. You choose
well,
that.
someone is choosing to be gay or lesbian.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, they're choosing
not
that.
choosing it.
And
Yeah,
it's
well, hey man, again, it used to be a little bit more of an indefensible stance to say, you know, I don't shoot, or rather to go up against somebody who said, well, I was born like this, back when it was just simply the LGB. But you could really do a lot of hole poking when it comes to the B part of it. And it's like, okay, you like girls, but then you also like dick on the side. Dude, I got news for you. But if you were just born gay, that used to be the talking points probably, you know, prior to the past 10 years or so. But now with all of the additional letters that are on there, some days I feel like a unicorn. Other days I feel like a head of cabbage. It's all great and it's whatever I feel like on a certain day. It's not a choice though. But again, I wouldn't expect these type of long drawn out political conversations with the assistant large fat fucker who squeezes his way back into the back cubicle in Best Buy.
Ujak, a Serbian immigrant and Best Buy employee in Jacksonville, Florida, recorded the conversation with his manager, Mike Hirsch. I spoke with Ennis about a situation. He decided to go public. Very brave, very courageous individual. Here's some of that interaction.
That is our manager. His name is Mike Hirsch. He and I had a very long conversation. It was like an hour and 30 minutes of he and I just going back and forth with him, telling me that it was work appropriate to have all this LGBT.
Ew, that's what's actually up there? Gross. I can understand, like, oh my God, Christ. Actually, that brings back a good, I was going to say a good memory, but that definitely brings up a memory. We weren't even allowed to put up Christmas decorations in the staff room at the time because he didn't want to offend anybody. Everybody who was there was either Christian or Catholic or agnostic, or if they were of a different religion, they didn't voice it or anything like that. So, yeah, weren't even allowed to do any of that stuff in, the staff room in the back. That's very interesting. But now, oh yeah, you could just go ahead and put all that stuff up. All right then, it's definitely not a religion though, or maybe it doesn't, maybe it's not a religion, maybe it supersedes religion. It's just one of those things where you can have belief without verification.
LGBTQ stuff that's going on in the office and everywhere else, but it's not okay for me to, be a Christian.
Holy fuck, like what are we doing here? They got all of that shit decked out. The Christmas decorations wouldn't even come close to that shit. Okay, you would barely see sales events like Black Friday or Boxing Day up here in Canada. You wouldn't even see signage that elaborate. Holy fuck.
Myself and have a Bible right over there that's right there at the office, or have a cross or a Quran or anything like that. That's not work appropriate, but having that LGBTQ pride.
I wonder what their position would be, because he was just asking specifically for a cross, and we all know that it's open season when it comes to Catholics. Very rarely do they actually push back. Catholics, Christians, Protestants, whatever, man. But I wonder if they would have that same energy if it was going to be a Quran. You had somebody wearing a lot of white linen with a Geek Squad badge on their chest, okay, saying, no, I need pray 5 times a day. We need to mark a Mecca down in the Geek Squad booth. I wonder if they would have that same energy there. I'm just wondering.
Frag everywhere else, that is work appropriate, and I wasn't standing for that.
Are you calling the police? I am actually. You're calling the police.
Yo, look at that fucking fat sack of shit. What the fuck, man?
I wasn't standing for that.
Run that back. Just a fat shame, that fucking pedo beard having goof. I wonder what's older, that Geek Squad van or the kids that he goes and trolls outside of the elementary schools. What the fuck?
I am actually. You're calling the police.
Of course you are. They probably have them on speed dial. Discrimination.
Taking issue with the materials he saw on the walls, the LGBTQ materials in the morning meetings, he objected to it and walked out as they required his attendance at these morning meetings.
Yeah, exactly. You probably need to swear fealty. You need to pledge allegiance to the flag. Just the rainbow one this time around.
Her name is Athena. She's also the well-being person at Best Buy as well. Of course. And she took offense to how I handled the whole situation.
Oh, you know what? I did a video of that. That's going to be coming out within a couple of weeks or so. Long story short, there was some bitch who wasn't doing work when she was working from home and whatever, and she ended up getting fired. Don't want to spoil the entire premise of the video, but she also had that banner there, and she was also insufferable. Oh man, just all of these worlds conflating together. How wonderful!
At Best Buy as well, and she took offense to how I handled the whole situation of just kind of walking out as she was trying to teach us about the LGBTQ history. So she ended up putting...
What does that have to do with fixing computers and other electronics? Just wondering. You need to have a robust understanding of the history of people butt fucking? I don't really know.
More pride flags because of me walking out.
And you walked out of there. How did that go? Athena was teaching about the history and you just walked out. Did you say anything?
No, not at all. I didn't say anything. I kept it very respectful. That's how I do things in life. I keep it very nice and professional. Me and my partner, we ended up walking out.
I didn't even notice that you had walked out this morning, man. But Had I known, I would have followed your lead on that and hear the stuff in the morning be a forceful approach of a different belief. I appreciate your love, brother, all that shit. Okay, it's just boys talking back and forth, being like, yeah, I can't stand any of this fucking nonsense.
We
okay.
went to our truck and we took care of our clients. Apparently she took offense to me not just sitting there and listening to all that garbage.
Now, Ennis Sujak works for Geek Squad, which is owned by Best Buy, and it's within the Geek Squad office where Ennis witnessed LGBTQ paraphernalia, Pride materials. Mike Hirsch, head of warehouse manager of Geek Squad, had a conversation with Ennis Sujak, and, well, Sujak decided to take out his phone and record the conversation.
Privileges. Anybody choose to be belittled, tortured,
in America?
Yes,
in America. In America, where you have so much freedoms and rights around here. They get special privileges. They get a whole month to themselves, bro.
Yo, where's the lie so far? They get held up on a pedestal. Fucking Christ, one of the most untalented motherfuckers gets to go to the White House and have a sit down with Joe Biden, okay, and do a live in-person interview at the White House, and then ends up parlaying that into Bud Light's destruction. Oh my God, actually. Again, like, it all just comes together. Kind of like what you're supposed to be supportive and accepting when it comes to the entire month of June. So fucking, it's still going to be intensely weird to think of an entire month dedicated to sexuality. Like, Christ almighty, I'm not even a Bible thumper or anything like that, but you have an entire month dedicated to one of the 7 deadly sins. Does anybody stop and realize that? I'm sure I'm not making an original point there. It's just, well, Pride Month, okay? And apparently this guy also likes Sloth Month, which is probably the other 11 months because you don't move that much.
People like you, and even worse than you, that are so anti that.
I'm not anti. I just don't care about how you live your life. Don't preach that shit to me. That's all I am.
Mike?
No, that seems very fair. It's like, okay, what's with all the proselytizing all over the walls? And you also want me to sit down and listen to some fat fucking dumpling spew all of her nonsense? Telling me that I'm a bigot if I don't want to go ahead and grab my ankles for the Alphabet Mafia? You can go fuck yourself. How about that?
Hirsch, we cannot get in touch with him. He has some type of Google system that prevents us from getting his comment, but we've reached out multiple times for Mike Hirsch. We'll also be reaching out to the CEO and the other managers within Best Buy. I'm James O'Keefe with OMG News, and we'll continue to follow this important story. We've had a number of whistleblowers reach out to us in the last 24 hours as a result of this initial screenshot from within Best Buy, not just Best Buy, other organizations and corporations requiring their employees to participate in various political programs that seem outside the scope of their corporate charter.
Yeah, exactly. And this isn't unique to Best Buy. Obviously, you see these types of discriminatory practices in a whole host of different industries, businesses, basically anywhere that you go. It's just open season to discriminate against white people. Not for any other reason other than, well, it's just racist policy, really.
Stay tuned. And Ennis, a very brave and courageous individual, very inspiring. We'll be airing the raw portion of my interview with him tomorrow. Stay tuned. Yes, sir.
Good.
I'm sorry. Who are you with? My name is James O'Keefe. I'm with OMG.
Yo, what the fuck? What's with the bitch hand movements? That's a little fucking sus, but of course. Oh, here's, yo, there's 250 pounds of fat stuck inside of a 150-pound bag. Look at those bitch tits. Tough for him.
Don't record me. You guys don't have permission to be on property. Could you please leave?
Permission to be on my property? I don't really know about that, man. I don't think you own the place.
Why is that?
Can you please leave the property?
This is a parking lot for a mall in New York State.
I think New York's could be surveillance. It's also in public, so you don't really have a presumed right of privacy. So a little tough, and you're just the one who's also going right into the shot. So good luck, in your legal point there, pal.
Sir, what's your name? What is your name? So we're standing outside the Best Buy, and this man comes out and asks me to leave. Are you aware that the CEO of Best Buy has made her account private?
If you want to know his name, it's probably on several registries, and he also has to probably introduce himself to all of his neighbors, whenever he moves to a new place.
Are you aware that the CEO of Best Buy has made her account private after accusations of racial discrimination have come out?
Yeah.
Would you like me to read you the screenshots?
Yo, boomer memes. Love it.
Are you calling the police?
I am, actually.
You're calling the police.
Cool.
Why are you doing that?
To be fair, there's probably some people that are down there that are actually James O'Keefe fans, so that'd be a pretty cool interaction, I guess.
Have you ever called the police on journalists before?
A3 O'Keefe Media Group.
That's right. James O'Keefe is my name. Have you heard of my name before? What's your name? What's your name? Is there a better way to do this than to call police because I'm asking questions? Sure. Thank you very much. This is Carrie Cunningham, Managing Director.
Oh, man, why would you do that, you fucking goof? Marketing Director. He's a why are bitches marketing director? And I'm not even talking about like man or woman type situation, but they all have this same ideology ingrained in their minds. That's why they fucking suck so bad, because there's absolutely nothing unique about him. Oh man, and his name's Carrie. Oh, he's got a girl. Carrie's a girl's name. Ew.
Who called the police on me for doing a stand-up outside the Best Buy here in the New York Mall parking lot. This is unfortunately a sad state of affairs for our country. You can't ask questions.
Well, to be fair, if it was going to be a stand-up outside, he wouldn't be there for very long.
Can't even tell stories without people calling the police, which is deeply ironic since they don't like the police. Unbelievable.
And staring at that fat guy's face, I really need to get some new glasses. It's just bugging me.
Every time they call the police, every single time that I do an investigative report, they call the police. I just want you to remember that.
I'm pretty sure Dylan did the exact same thing when, oh my god, he, she, whatever, was accosted in the hotel room or something like that. Or, no, trying to get into an elevator. I don't want you in here. I don't feel safe. I swear, James was probably about 5 minutes away from making that fucking fat fucker cry. But yeah, man, Bud Light, or Best Buy, I ended up jumping the gun on that one for a second, is really setting themselves up to, hasten their bankruptcy, or at least shutting down multiple locations, because I swear here, very, very soon, I'm probably going to be driving within, reasonable proximity to said old store. And chances are, well, there's not going to be anybody there because barely anybody's going to those places. They're placing their orders online or going to places that are ultimately cheaper, or only perusing the place whenever there's a sale, which is somebody who has seen the back end and how much that shit costs. Whenever something goes on sale, they barely make any money on it. The only thing that they did make a lot of money on is their own proprietary brands like Rocket Fish and whatever the other one, their no-name brand shit is as well. They make a lot of money on cables and cords and third-party shit like that, but everything else is at very, very slim margins, and especially when there's sales on, they just try to get them to come in, hey, buy a printer. I don't know if people buy printers anymore, but then you just can go ahead and buy a new cord or something like that, and then that's how they ultimately end up making their money. But as more and more people start to buy online only exclusively the stuff that they want to get and not go in and then just end up getting snatched up by some smooth talking fucker who just seems to know his way around the place, well, that's why their profit margins go down. And especially if it comes out that you guys are kind of racist, well, guess what? Nobody's going to be terribly inclined to darken your doorstep again, which you've done an excellent job of disincentivizing, especially in the past few years. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.